First of all, I'm gonna play the
No,
clips.
There. Who's this?
That looks like fucking somebody's left nutsack flying around in the fucking sea.
Where's the nutsack?
Tiniest lip nutsack I've ever seen.
Yeah, that
It
looks
looks
crazy
like a
though.
Pokeball.
Yeah,
That's a foodball.
football.
Football.
Hey, look, it's a bird. It's a plane. Look, it's an unidentified flying asshole. UFA.
It's a Fuda.
I got a feeling that's just a fucking drone. People be doing stupid shit like that. I don't think that's real though.
Yeah.
Where did it land at?
El jueves 1 de mayo del 2025, el señor José Luis Velázquez, especialista.
Okay.
What are they saying, Dan?
supposedly-
That look fucking fake as shit though.
Supposedly, this
Yeah,
thing, but right before they, it's likely a fake, but before they started filming it, supposedly hit power lines, and that's why it fell. Supposedly, then unless I have my story wrong, they refused to hand it over to the government, but some scientists had a look at it. But this story is all kinds of wonky. It's interesting, but yeah, there's a lot you could pick apart about it.
Especialista en rayos X, realizó una serie de sorprendentes pruebas a la esfera Buga, la cual cayó a tierra después de recibir una descarga de 10,000 voltios.
10,000
Las imágenes
volts.
obtenidas arrojaron resultados sorprendentes. En el interior se puede observar en el contorno en tonalidad blanca una densa capa que la rodea, lo que es indicativo de que es muy gruesa. En tonos más grises con menor densidad se aprecia otro material menos denso que confirmaría que la esfera no es hueca y explicaría su inusual peso, que se ha logrado documentar de manera inexplicable, es variable. Asimismo, se detectaron una serie de 16 puntos que rodean al núcleo. Esto se trataría de microesferas. Al mismo tiempo, se observó un elemento de tonalidad oscura que se distribuye en el interior de la esfera de Buga, que revela que este material sería el menos denso, quizá poroso.
So what is it? A fucking flying ball saucer?
The bulldozer.
So,
That dude.
But
That's.
I'm
I'll
sure
talk. I'll
about
talk when I'm
what
called on. But go
it
ahead.
really is.
so the object was recovered, and scientists analyzed it as 3 layers of metal-like material and 18 microspheres surrounding a central nucleus they're calling a chip, which is not a chip, but this is what they're calling it. Radiologists who examined the sphere reported finding no welds or joints, which would typically indicate human fabrication. It is of artificial origin in that it shows no evidence of welding, and its internal structure is composed of high density elements.
No, well,
It also
that's
contains
opposite.
symbols.
The core was very light material.
It also contains symbols which it says comparable to ancient scripts, including runes. I don't know this word, Ogam, and Mesopotamian writing systems. So they used AI to decipher it, and according to AI, it's
Wait,
something
pardon?
along the lines of the origin of birth through union and energy, and the cycle of transformation meeting point of unity, expansion, and consciousness, individual consciousness. So they interpret it as a message to humanity, encouraging a collective shift in consciousness to help Mother Earth. Now, who knows? This may all be a load. It may all be a load of bullshit, but it makes for an interesting story, if nothing else.
Yeah,
Now-
I'm really interested at this, and we will talk this now, but I will make research because this is fucking interesting to me.
It weighs
About this.
about 4.5 pounds. They claim the man who found it, Jose, felt sick for days after touching the object, but that does not add up to all the people touching it afterwards. They claim when they poured water on it, it vaporized.
Oh wow!
But the
No
interior
shit.
was hot and the
Can't be
exterior is cold.
So
Now,
No shit. I don't believe that. I'm sorry, but the water vaporized. Are you fucking kidding me? Seriously?
there is a video clip of the water actually vaporizing. I mean, again, this may be a massive hoax, which
Yeah, in the
Zombie-
age of AI, it's really hard to tell.
which
now.
Zombie 3D he had sent me this on it, which is someone attempting to debunk it to some extent.
Bulls
Yeah, let's watch
originally
this.
camera cut off with no further updates on what happened next until weeks later. Now, first of all, this makes me a little bit
Okay, this goes on for a while, so I got it running at a faster speed.
suspicious just how all of this was put together. First of all, look at the size of this object and how well it shows up on camera in spite of the colossal distances involved. Now let's have a look at a football match with an object that's only a little bit smaller than the supposed recovered object, and look how tiny this object is. I mean, the only reason you can really see it clearly is because it's white, and also the observer is zoomed in on it. And once again, this is on a football pitch. We're only looking at about 100 meters or so here, and when he zooms back, as you just saw there, you lose sight of the object entirely. I'm not sure if this is an object. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty certain that it didn't. Look at that. Now, once again, I wasn't there. I don't know about the scale of the trees, but that looks much bigger than the recovered object. And also, I don't see any features on it whatsoever. Now, let's take a closer look at the object in flight again with the stabilized image. And what we are seeing here is a featureless silver sphere. I mean, there appear to be some significant differences between this object and the object that was allegedly recovered. And also, look at this. They're allowing their kids to touch this thing with their bare hands. I would never allow my children to touch an object that I didn't know what it was, especially if it might have been the product of extraterrestrial technology, perhaps even powered by a nuclear reactor of some kind. Why would I allow my kids to touch something like this with their bare hands? I would
idiots.
with my bare hands. And yet, over and over again, we see people handling.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm
like
gonna
a
pause
devil
it for a
symbol.
moment.
I'm sorry, but it feels like a fucking hoax.
Something-
The kids are
something
rubbing
that
water
is
on fly.
translation.
No, I haven't gotten to the part yet, but something that this debunker points out is in those etchings on it, there is an error. It's not smooth carved into it. There is an error in the design pattern there. There's a lot to pick apart about this story, and it feels like an elaborate hoax, but all the same, it is interesting.
Yeah, it is.
It is. You remember the
Um,
Mermaid hoax, where someone who is really good at crafting, like for horror movies and stuff. He's good at crafting shit, and he left the man-made mermaid on a beach, and people were
Oh,
freaking out.
Yeah,
Remember that one?
yeah,
That's the
yeah.
same shit here.
Yeah.
That's the same
If
shit.
you
I'm
look-
sorry.
You see the arcs in the front here. If you look at the line on the
That's
right,
human made.
it's wrinkled.
You're
so
right.
It's not perfectly
Oh,
made.
there's
Yeah, all
more
of the
errors
lines
in
are
that.
like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'll play a bit more of this. He'll explain a bit more of the things that he himself has spotted.
This without gloves as if they know that it's harmless. Either these people are being grossly irresponsible and reckless, or they know something about this object that the rest of us don't. Now, in addition, according to the witnesses, this object collided with power lines before they started filming it, and it apparently got a significant jolt of electricity, which might explain why it eventually crashed. Those power lines, by the way, are on the faraway mountains. My question is, how did they even see this thing all the way up where those power lines were in the first place? Doesn't seem very logical to me. An object, again, that's just a little bit bigger than a football being that noticeable over the mountains. And then in addition to that, if we're talking about a sophisticated interstellar civilization that's capable of sending out objects that can frankly defy gravity by means of sophisticated propulsion or perhaps negative mass, something like that, and yet its navigation system is so faulty that it will run into a set of power lines like a kite being flown by a rather unskilled operator.
Oh,
and
wow.
then the object itself and the etchings on it. This doesn't look like the kind of etchings that I would expect to find on an object being produced by a civilization far more advanced than us. These sorts of etchings actually could be produced by a skilled student in shop class. Now, David Velez El Potro, one of the individuals who recovered the object, recently spoke on Masan Television, hosted by journalist and ufologist Jaime Masan, whose research has stirred controversy for nearly a decade. He's the alien
Colonel
mummy
Sanders.
guy. And incidentally, once again,
Mhm.
this guy thinks it's a great idea to just go ahead and handle
Colonel
this thing with his
Sanders.
bare hands, as opposed to suiting up and putting on gloves like a real scientist.
right.
I'm
Also, I
not
thought they
sure
were
if it's the
just sick of
same
it.
person, but there was somebody like him that was an ex-president of Mexico who was doing that. It may be the same person.
No,
Oh.
Jaime has been like this long term. He's been digging into this shit for years. Jaime is like, if you handed him a rock and said it came from space, he would take it to a laboratory and have it looked at because he's so into this stuff. He's the real deal on this sort of like, what is this? But he also is gullible. I've noticed that.
He was the first guy to say aliens, gods were just aliens. He was like the first guy to say it.
But you want to say something funny?
I'm actually supporting this.
I mean, I'm not gonna make any solid statements like that, but you know, if I had to guess, I would say the aliens are more akin to the angels.
All right, check this out. Since they found that shit, right? I feel sorry for them if an alien comes to the house, comes to knock on the door and say, "Hey, where's my fucking balls? Why you got my balls in your fucking hand? Give my
Like I
fucking
said
balls
earlier,
back."
Oh man, I'd put that shit in their head.
Where's my fucking
I'd beat the fuck out of those guys, man.
they pry that fucker open. They pry that fucker open, and it's a Fuda inside. Like, close it back, close it back.
There will be
Fucking
food.
Fuda in there,
There will be
shit.
food.
Bunch of
Alien
smoke
comes-
and Fuda come pouring
Why
out.
would they be flying around a ball like that anyways? What would be the point?
You have an alien coming to your fucking house and say looking for his balls.
No, I'm sorry. I'm a realistic person. I believe in not believe is the
Fairies?
wrong word, but I
What are you
think
doing?
no.
What are you
You're funny.
doing?
But rather than there is a god, I think there will be aliens. That makes more sense. It's a
Yeah,
theory. I don't think it's real per se.
What
but
is that
it makes
quote?
more sense. But this thing, this sphere, that's fucking fake as fucking
Hey,
fuck.
help me out with
This is
this
a very
quote.
advanced
Fucking
drone.
fake as fucking fuck to me.
The
And dude,
Shakespeare
they're great.
quote: "There is more in heaven and earth than that is dreamt of in your philosophy." I believe that to be true. I mean, there's things we encounter daily or in our lifetime, but then there's things that exist that we will never encounter. And we think, oh no, that doesn't exist. That can't be real. But there are things, more
No,
things in
I
heaven
don't
and earth
think-
than
I
dreamt
don't
of in your
think
philosophy.
know anything. I will be proven right or wrong when I die anyway, as we all will. Is there a God? Is there an afterlife? We will all find out, no matter what. But
So
fact
he's
is,
requesting
fact
the
is,
ponies.
as the science is, there is
Jesus
an
Christ, we'll run a
unending
fly.
universe, so there need to be aliens. So it makes sense that they actually visited this fucking planet and
Yes,
fucked around and been seen as gods.
Dude, they've been
might
here.
make
They've been
more
here.
fucking
Yeah, they've
sense
been here.
than fucking
There
actual
are
gods
things,
as
but
people
this is
believe
not
in.
it.
Yeah.
That could very well be so. This could be an elaborate hoax. I
Yeah.
mean,
It's all theories.
everything points
It's
to it
unproven.
being a hoax, but either way, it makes for an interesting story, I would say.
It
That is
does,
true.
it does. Because it sparks again the discussion about the extraterrestrial. It sparks the thought of other intelligent life in this universe, but us, and I wouldn't call humans that intelligent.
Well, I would say it also sparks the debate of advanced human technology that we are not privy to that may have gotten out.
Yeah, well, you all know and heard the fact that there was alien tech going down in the Schwarzwald in Germany, and that's why the fucking Second World War, they were advantage on technology.
The Glocko. Yeah.
Or the Foo
I'm
Fighters.
going to
You
play,
all know this
I'm going to
shit.
play a bit more of this debunking so you can make a few more
Okay,
points.
I'm sorry.
And,
Yeah, 'cause there's a
then
better
we can
part
speak
coming
on
up.
those points.
Scientist would, which, by the way, thank God, Dr. Velasquez and his team suited up properly before they investigated the object, and, as I said, came to a number of interesting conclusions, saying that it is of artificial origin, no evidence of welding, internal structure composed of high-density elements, but what they also said is that more testing is needed to establish its origins. Also, using AI to assist in deciphering the script, the team interpreted the message to read, quote, the origin of birth through union and energy in the cycle of transformation, meeting point of unity, expansion, and consciousness. individual consciousness. According to the team, and once again, I'm not sure if the entire team came to this conclusion, quote, we interpret it as a message to humanity encouraging a collective shift in consciousness to help Mother Earth, especially considering the current issues with pollution and environmental decline. That being said, though, perhaps they should have interpreted this script as reading, may the force be with you, because another AI that examined the script concluded that this is actually a made-up language used in the Star Wars universe. And the Star Wars connection goes a lot deeper than that, guys. There's a sphere.
Wait,
Yeah,
No.
that's my favorite part.
That what he just said. Well, AI is not trustworthy. It is not. I mean, look out. You know, there was that story about it made up books when somebody put it to the task of listing the top books or whatever the case, right? AI is not trustworthy. One might say, oh, this is a sophisticated alien language that says humanity, blah, blah, blah. And the other goes, oh, this is a Star Wars language. I don't believe that's a good method.
I do want to point out that the original team that brought out the original description of what the AI says it made never did say which AI made that claim. While
Yeah.
this guy, you can use Grok, OpenAI, and the Gemini, and they'll all tell you the same thing. Even just from like a screenshot of this picture, and you
Okay.
go and say, "Hey, what?"
That's
can you
what I'm
analyze
saying, dude.
this?
I'm like, dude, you guys should have used some AI CNC.
Yeah,
Because
that
if I
AI
I think
may
they
very
do,
well.
I'd be
I think the
pissed.
team lied and just made something
Yeah,
up and claimed it was
that
AI, so people would believe it.
that AI that says it's a Star Wars language may very well be true, but what we need to do is find that Star Wars language in reference in film
Oh,
or wherever it may be
hit,
and do some comparisons.
hit
Yeah.
play, hit play. He
Sphere in
tells you
Jedi
about it.
Fallen Order. It isn't called the Buga Sphere. Keep in mind, Buga is the name of the town where this thing was discovered, but rather the Bogano Sphere. And there it is, looking very similar to this sphere that was recovered in Colombia. And the Jedi Eno Cordova has this to say about it. Quote, my friend, I've unearthed a curious artifact, an ancient sphere capable of storing and conducting massive amounts of energy. Whatever civilization crafted this must be the same that created the seemingly impenetrable structure nearby. I believe studying this sphere may yield the information I need to discover who they were and why they built such a landmark and why they sent another one of these spheres to be found by unsuspecting bystanders in Colombia. Okay, I'm getting a bit sarcastic here, but this is a very interesting coincidence. And by the way, as far as I know, nobody else in the media has drawn this connection. Now, keep in mind, quite a number of conclusions can be found online about this object. Lots of mysterious findings about the internal structure, about how alien it is, how much it differs from anything of human manufacture, etc. The only thing that I find to be credible is what Dr. Jose Velasquez had to say about it, that it's artificial, it shows no evidence of welding, and its internal structure is composed of high-density elements, and most importantly, that more testing is needed to establish its origin, and preferably testing by an independent panel of scientists who have nothing to do with this guy. But how is this faked? Well, first of all, let's have a look at the footage again. You will notice that there's a considerable amount of background noise, passing trucks or machinery, something along those lines, creating a fair amount of noise. And in my opinion, it's noise being used to mask another sound. This is a drone prototype being propelled by compressed air. It's little more.
Okay, on this, I don't imagine. Let's say that footage of it flying in the air was real. I don't imagine that compressed air was doing that.
No.
Now, this guy does say that in the footage, it looks like it's just being strung around. If it's rather it's compressed air or an actual like in ball drone, but any way you look at it, like it doesn't like I don't think it's superimposed footage. If that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
Because it does have like light blurs and stuff like that with natural
Yeah.
obfuscation that you can see it when it passes by the sun and the eclipse in the background, which you would expect if it was actually in the air. But if they're using a zoom trick and it actually being like right above the viewer's head, and they're actually using a distant background footage in the distance to make it
Come
look like
on,
it's really
let's
far
be
away,
real.
that
There
would be
could
more
an AI video.
realistic.
We are at that point that you can fucking
Yeah,
mess with AI. We are fucked. Reality is gonna blur so fast.
Yeah.
You
Okay, the thing is,
this
this feels like a hox, but
Yeah,
It does.
to me, it does.
is there? The question is there any part of this that holds some truth. It may be a part true, part lie, part true, part hoax. It may very well be.
My brother said something very interesting and real. If there were aliens and they see our planet and how we act, they would fucking leave and never talk to us.
No,
simple
that's
as
not how it
fucking
is,
that.
man.
I think
Dude,
they
they
destroy us.
work
No,
here.
the
They're
nasty
part
ones
of they're
would
part of
fucking
our
destroy us, but the good
thing.
ones would just go around and say, "Fuck this monkeys, fuck this psychotic
I
monkeys."
know that
Seriously,
thought
Yeah, freeze
process.
a moment.
he's right with that.
They would
He is
drive by
fucking
Earth
on the
and
point
go,
with that.
roll them up.
Yeah.
Okay, but what if they're more fierce than us and they look at us and go, look how kind those dumb animals are. We need to be more
Yeah,
like them. Let's watch
there are
them.
there are two ways. Either aliens would come and fuck us up, or they would just leave if they are actually good, because we are no good.
No,
So
they're not going to leave. They're not going to give up on it because they have a different whole concept. From what I've learned from over the years,
Yeah.
decades
They're like
of
me.
watching these documentaries, is that they don't
oh, that's
they don't
cute.
want us to fail. They want us to get better, get good.
Yep.
To say
To
Yeah,
be honest,
how
that
can
doesn't
we?
make sense.
We
Like,
we are in a cycle.
they
of
have
the
an
same shit
investment in us because
forever.
Well,
there's a connection somewhere. I don't. I
I'm
haven't.
just
well,
saying, like,
okay, here's
there's
one
more
thing to
value in the
consider.
planet than in the humans.
If
So if you
if
was to
you
get rid of
believe
us,
in
you'd get
the
value.
Correct. Yeah, they're trying to
if
help
you
us
believe in the
preserve the planet.
metaphysical,
Yeah.
if you believe in the metaphysical, they see more than just our physical beings. They see our eternal beings, and that
Yes.
is what they're focusing on, possibly.
Yeah, well, I don't believe in that shit, so that doesn't make sense.
Gotta look
at
into it,
all.
man. You gotta look into it, bro, girl, sis. You gotta look into it.
Yeah, call me whatever you want.
Well, I mean, the
No,
more you
I'm-
look
I'm-
into it, it's like if they don't have the technology to mass propulsion in ways that we've dreamed of but never could prove could be possible, then there's
We
no
have it.
possible way for them to be able to even get to us in a proportionable time that where we'd be alive, they'd be alive at the same time.
Yep.
And then at the other time, if they do have that kind of technology, why in the hell would they need us or our planet? And then see if they do have that technology and they need our planet, kind of like Planet Jackers or something. If you don't know that Invader Zim reference,
Mhm.
then they would be better off destroying the humans on the planet very quickly to preserve the planet and allow it to prosper in natural
Well,
carbon before taking it over for its carbon
you have
value.
We are
you
the
have good
shepherds.
you have
We are
good
the
points.
shepherds of this planet. So it's better to
You
train the shepherds than to just perish everything.
That's
you
true.
have all good points, but I'm looking at it from the angle of more of a metaphysical. They see us and they see our eternal selves, and this here is our test for our eternal existence to see where
Yep.
we go next. And they're looking at that and they're trying to help us get to a higher plane, possibly.
Okay, I need to admit, the humans have the capacity to reach real heights. We are actually capable of this, but we don't utilize it. We are, as a society and as a race, consumed by greed every time in an endless cycle. Oh, we were not able to break out of it.